All right, welcome to another episode of the Brilliant Wonders podcast. I'm Josi, your host, and today is just going to be a great day because first off, I'm just taking the day. So I'm doing this podcast real quick, and then I'm just going to go hike for the rest of the day. It is sunny. It is time to enjoy the weather, enjoy the spring, and just soak all that up. So I'm moving into a period in my life, which I'm realizing that just how many seasons we have, you guys. There's so many seasons happening. Not just like the weather, changes, but like the seasons of our life and what it means to flow through them. And in the beginning of this transition of mine, I knew that the seasons were going to be different. I knew that everything was going to look very different, but I didn't realize quite how much feelings I would have in the midst of it all. And I thought that I could, really handle them a little bit better in a way. Like I thought my nervous system was probably in such a good place that it was going to be able to handle the different, all the different things, the different locations of living, the different means of like my career, the finances, who I'm around, the people I'm around, friends, like everything has gotten very shook up. And I was doing really great with this for quite a while. And then all of a sudden, I got so inspired to be doing the work that I'm doing that I transitioned into a bit of a perfectionist. And I don't know if this relates with any of you guys out there where, as you move into uncertainty, my brain, like encouraging it that we are safe and everything's going to be okay, I did good with that until all of a sudden I wasn't. And I did a brain scan. So in my practice, I have been doing this neuroinfinity brain scans for quite a while. And I hadn't done a scan on myself since 2024. So right before I left on my big trip, I didn't do one last year. It would have been really interesting to see where my nervous system was when I came back from my trip back in May of 2025, but I didn't. So I have my scans now, and it's now April of 2026. And as I was explaining to my Inner Brilliance design group last night, I said, this is what's really neat. If you do this work for long enough, like I have a pattern, or I have a timeline of what was going on in my nervous system over quite a period of time now. And I said, this is what's really cool, because my scan was not great. And I wouldn't want to come on here and just tell you that I'm perfect all the time. And here's my perfect brain report, right? Even though that's what I teach, right? This is what I teach, but I am living it. I am the testimonial. I am the transformation that I teach. And as I looked at my scans, first I felt pretty defeated, because here's what happened. And if anyone wants to discuss this with me later, feel free to shoot me a message and I can tell you all about my neuroinfinity scanner. But what I saw was that my physiological body, so it's measuring your stress response. It's measuring how well you're adapting to stress. Do you move into stress, and do you like fight or flight, and do you move out of it? Is it a smooth transition? Is your nervous system allowing your body and your mind and everything to change as your environment or your perceived environment changes? And I felt pretty rough in the last month or so, where I had been learning a lot of new things. I felt like I needed some guidance in my career stuff, because this is a whole new world for me. Online communities, online, like all of my information is going online. So there's a vulnerability piece. I'm living online now, and I wasn't before. So there's just a lot of changes that have been happening. And I started to feel like I was moving backwards a little bit in like my in my mental space, or like being able to handle anything that came at me, being able to transition and move and transform and take on what the world, what the Lord, the good Lord, has been sending me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like have a fire hydrant up to my face right now. Like that's how much stuff seemed to be coming towards me that I needed to decide what things I was acting on and which things I'm not acting on, and just a bunch of new stuff. And I know that I'm not the only one that has completely uprooted their life. I also know that you don't need to uproot your life to feel these things. This is not, yeah, this is not like, whoa, Josie, you did a lot. Because I did do a lot, but I think I chose a lot of these things. Anyway, so I did my brain scan and I knew that something was really off. And I was like, I feel like I need to pinpoint where I'm at, because how I was feeling, I thought my body was breaking down. I was tight. I felt swollen. I didn't like what my body was feeling like. I didn't like, how my mind was working, all these things. But you know what? I've been doing this for a long time now. My body was handling all of that stress really, really well. And in the moment that I read my scan, I was pretty defeated. But then I looked at, we open up the hood and we dive in and see what's going on. And it's like, whoa, no, your body's doing freaking amazing. It's doing good things. My brain needs to catch up now. So typically, it's the reverse, where we're trying to catch our body up, balance our body out to be able to, move forward, to use our body, our vessel, to make the change. And actually, my scan is the complete opposite, where my body is actually handling and adapting really well. My brain is stuck. So you know what that means for me is that this is the time that I'm going to be breaking some big neural patterns that have been there for a long time. I've uncovered a neural circuit that no longer serves me, and now I know the tools to change that. So we talk about brainwave frequencies pretty often in my practice. I talk about it in my groups. It's a way of seeing where your brain is, what brain waves are going on in different parts of your brain. And there are different times where different brain waves should be heavier in different parts of the brain. There are times where you should have more beta waves going through your brain versus theta waves. But then you should be able to move back and forth between those two. So this is like the adaptability of your brain. And right now, my brain is not really adapting. And I'm able to look at these brainwave frequencies and see what's going on in my brain and be like, okay, these are the things that I need to help train with it. And mine, for example, right now is my beta brainwaves and my theta brainwaves are not moving in and out. I am kind of stuck in like a beta, overthinking, high energy, high brain use state, which is how I felt. But my body was actually, not going there as much as it could have, if I wasn't taking care of my body. So I'm able to focus in on my brain. So what does that mean? Like, what do I do? And this is the routine that I am incorporating into my life. And I will let you know in a few months how my brain scan looks, because I know that this is going to change it. But my mornings need to be a certain way because we have high beta waves in the morning. Well, I want to make sure that I already have really high beta waves. So I need to not just bring them down, but like focus in the mornings and let it chill and not be like feeling like you are underwater already in the morning. So my mornings are going to change again. They're going to slow down a bit. I'm, not going to be trying to do heavy lifting or a lot of activity unless it's very repetitive type movement, like a walk or something. It's time to really focus in on that and let my brain calm down. I'm also journaling every morning now. So I will be, and I journal a lot anyway, but lately my journaling has been very much like to-do lists, like all the things that I need to do. Now it's like slowing my brain down, tapping into my emotions again, tapping into how I'm feeling, where am I feeling maybe doubtful or insecure, and helping myself move out of that. first off, when you write it down, it's like, oh yeah, there it is. It's let out of the brain and onto a piece of paper, which is very, very powerful. And then the big key here though is that we're transforming that. So here are my doubts, insecurities, here are my, fears, and then moving out of it. So letting that go and then affirming who I am and the goals that I have and the like who we talk about this a lot, the version of myself that I not only want to be, but I'm bringing into the present moment, right? This is the version of myself now, and it's going to be okay. So incorporating the safety mechanism into my mornings is going to be really important so that my brain doesn't go nuts. Okay. The other thing is theta. So theta, these two work really hand in hand with each other. So throughout the day, let's just talk about nights. We'll have more theta waves at night as we're winding down, getting ready for bed, being able to relax, those sorts of things. Okay, so high theta waves at that point. And my theta waves are quite low right now, which I have been having trouble shutting my brain off and going to bed. It's been really hard for me. So now it's like, okay, these two, morning and night, is going to be really, really critical for me to start shifting my brain. But here's the deal. It's not that, that's like the big one, right? Like morning, night, I can totally grasp that. But through the middle, throughout the day, that is where we want to be able to be flexible, meaning my beta waves will come down when it's time to relax, shut my eyes, and kind of get out of my brain. And then be able to refocus again and get back into working. And I'm going back and forth a lot right now, but my brain waves are not changing. So I have a very scattered day. That's just how my days are. Where I work a bunch, I end up sitting at a computer a lot more right now and doing, this kind of stuff, like talking to you guys, right? I'm doing a lot more of the sitting and very, not just sitting, I'm standing too, but, very focused work. And then I need to take a break. And on my breaks, getting into that theta wave state and then coming back to beta and then going into theta. Well, I'm not moving back and forth between the two. So even though I'm taking breaks, my brain is not going into theta. The way that I want it to. So I am going to be doing that throughout the day. But here's the deal, it's easier for me right now to focus on my morning and my afternoons and evenings and making sure that I'm doing that. I'm encouraging my brain to go into those states and that it's safe to go into those states. A lot of times when we have this theta issue where we're not going into this relaxation state, it's because it's not safe to. It's not safe to go there because I have so much to do. Does this sound relatable? I have so many things to learn. I need, I'm focusing on that part, even on my time off where I feel like it's, time to eat my lunch, time to whatever. I'm still thinking about the things that are on my to-do list or on my plate, and that's not helping my brain at all, which then slows the whole process down, and it actually makes your change is really hard to make during that time. And I've talked about this, a flexible brain encourages change. It actually helps you change. And when my brain is stuck, it's hard to change, right? So I want these different things to be going on in my life that I need to be flexible to change, including my brain and body. Okay, so that is the brain waves intro. We haven't really talked about this a lot. Brain waves intro, where this imbalance between beta and theta, and there's other brain waves too that we'll dive into a different day. But this is what's on my heart right now because of my scan yesterday. That when we have a high brainwave of beta and a low brainwave of theta, we oftentimes have ADHD tendencies. I'm not saying we have ADHD. I'm saying we have tendencies. It's hard to focus. It's a bit scattered. I have a lot of things going on. My brain never shuts off. I am wired and tired. Does this sound familiar? Right? So helping my brain move between these states is going to be very critical, and it's going to take consistency over the next few months as I move through this stage. And this is just part of it. This is part of it. I love having data in front of me and then seeing that I need to make some changes. It helps me refocus on what's important. Not everybody needs this. Not I, you maybe don't even need a brain scan because you already, or you're more of a feeler where you're like, I don't feel right. Tell me what to do. This is like, what can I really focus on to make the biggest change? And this brain scan helps me do that. Helps me really focus in on these are these are the main things that I need to work on. It's like I talk about this a lot. There's like I think about it as this harbor, and if I want to make, well, let's say I have this big ship. Okay, I have this big ship, and I'm going to be pulling into this harbor. When I pull into this harbor and I park my boat, I just changed everything in the harbor. I brought a big ship in, changed the way that the water is in that harbor, and all the boats will move up because I've added a big lunk of steel to the harbor, right? Um, Density, a big mass, right? So everything in there will move up and change in a positive way, according to like what I'm working on, right? So I'm going to bring this big harbor or big boat in that is theta and beta brainwave training, and we'll see how everything else will shift around it. But if I didn't know exactly that that was what was going on, then maybe I would start moving my body a lot more, or I would start doing a lot of breath work or whatever, which I'm not saying those things aren't going to help you, but my focus or my intention is on something that's going to be a bit more dynamic in actually shifting my health in a direction that I want it to go. So, takeaways for today is one, where your energy goes, or where your focus goes, energy flows. Okay, so I am purely focusing on one thing right now to change the way that my brain is functioning, right? The other thing is sometimes you just need some data. You need something that is measurable, so that I can see that that is what I need to change, right? So I'm very clear on what I am wanting to experience in my health. So I have a high intention on one thing. I don't have it on everything, right? Especially you guys, lifestyle is not simple. When we do lifestyle design, it's everything that's going on in our life all the time. It's not just one thing, right? So what is the one thing that you can really shift and change that's going to affect everything else in your life? So being able to be the data, or being able to be very intentional and clear and know that this is what you're working on will help you, in looking at changing your lifestyle, right? The third takeaway from today is that even the people that you're following, we are not all perfect. We're not all perfect, and we're a work in progress as well. And as we discover things about ourselves, we can share them with you and help you follow, or help you decide what's next for you, maybe. Yeah, no, life is not always perfect. I am a total testament to that things can get out of whack sometimes, and what do we do to recover, right? And shift that. And this was a big takeaway for me and a big focus for me for the next few months, as I shift this brainwave pattern for myself. But what would that be for you? What is it that can be your biggest focus to start changing the way that you feel throughout your days? And maybe it's a growth season. So this is a growth season for me. I'm growing tremendously, which is a lot of change, which is a lot of like telling my brain like this isn't safe. So there's a lot of compassion and grace and encouragement, around this time in my life, so that I can make the changes and become this person, this new person that's like, showing up online and building online programs and doing all these different things, still adjusting people, still connecting with people, but being very, very, very different in how I'm doing that. So hang in there, keep doing your thing. Again, if you have any questions on my neuroinfinity brain scans, like, let me know. I would gladly help out in any way possible. Obviously, you need to be in person to do these things, but they are very powerful. So, would recommend to anybody who feels like they kind of cycle back a lot, or they have these things that keep showing up in their life and they're not moving forward in how they want things to look. In the beginning, I had cycles that would show up on a weekly basis. And then as I did this work, the cycle maybe would show up every month or so. And then pretty soon it's like, oh, well, about every quarter this starts to happen. And then it's, extended further and further as I break these patterns. And I recognize quicker when things are out of alignment. And that's what I would hope for you. That's regulated living. That is what we teach in our Brilliance Design is regulated living, knowing that there are seasons and there are times where we're riding the highs and there are times that we're supporting the lows, and that's how it goes in life. So I hope this was helpful today. I just felt like this is something I really needed to share with you guys, and I just encourage you to keep at it, keep after it, and make the changes. Make the changes and support your brain and nervous system through the changes to actually get these things to shift for you. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for listening. Follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, anywhere like that, as I, continue to share what I know and how I feel and how we can, keep making this world more regulated in a time of high stress. And the stress is coming in ways that we may not even be seeing, right? So just helping our bodies and our nervous systems, like accommodating them to just what life is like. Okay. Thanks, everyone. We will see you next time.